Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to my channel, Soul Journey. My name is Beck, or the Expansion Doula, and today is July 19th, and I am doing an energy reading for the collective conscious on the planet Earth. If you follow me, you know I didn't post a reading last week. It was just not in the cards. I did do a bit of a midweek reading on my Instagram, so definitely head over there. If you are interested in keeping up with more of my in the moment readings and things like that, I do more of that over there. But I am back this week for the reading for this week. For any of you who have followed me in the previous, let me see here, hold up. For any of you who regularly follow me, you know that I post on Fridays so that we can kind of get an idea of the energy coming into the next week starting on Sunday. So this is kind of like a pre-look so that we can kind of have more clarity and awareness of how we want to come into this week, what we need to focus on, what we need to maybe move away from, etc. If this resonates with you and you would like a personal reading with me, you can head down to my description to my Etsy shop where I do offer different types of readings. And if you want more clarity on this reading as well, and you don't particularly want a personal reading, I do suggest going back to the week prior just to get a fuller look at the current energy we're dealing with. So, all right, let's get on to the reading. So this week we're going to do things a little bit differently. Instead of 2 oracle decks and 1 tarot, we're going to be doing 2 tarot and 1 oracle deck. So we're going to be kind of playing around with that a little bit. Our first tarot deck we are going to be using is the Spirit Song Tarot. Let's see if I can get that in the not so shiny. I am in my new spirit room here where I'm still getting it organized, so bear with me. We're using the Marielle Tarot, and we are going to be using Soul Cards 1. Sorry, Soul Cards 2. This is Soul Cards 2. I have Soul Cards 1 over there. If you guys would like a little bit of a review on the Soul Cards decks, do let me know. I don't think I've done a video on them, so let me know. All right, let's get into the reading. So usually I have an oracle deck that kind of themes the readings, but this week we're going to be using a tarot. Just had the intuition. So our main energy for this week, 9 of Crystals, security and abundance. Well, that's lovely. I'm going to have to see shine. So I feel like this week we're really going to be stepping into what it means to be secure. What does it mean to be abundant? What does it mean for us as a person individually? Do we want to buy into society's expectations on what that means? Really looking at where this is for us. This also might be the week when we start to really delve into how we want to create this for ourselves. How do we want to create a grounded, stable energy around abundance specifically? How do we want to engage with that? It's very warm in here. Okay. The assisting energy or the light aspect of that is 5 of Shells. Hope and readjustment. Okay. So what I'm feeling for this is basically, again, kind of talking about reevaluating where we want to bring in our abundance. I feel like there is going to be an adjustment period. I think we're going to be reevaluating what these things mean to us. Why do we feel like maybe we can only bring in money doing something that is backbreaking? Why do we feel like we have to be doing something that doesn't feel good? Or if there's something that we really want to be doing, why do we think that there, isn't a possibility to, bring in that income, that abundance through what feels good to us? And then having this hope, right, of like that can work. And a lot of us feel kind of hopeless in that sense. And the shells or the cups is about emotion. So it's really going to help us when we're reevaluating is what feels good to us. What are the actual emotions we have around this topic? And I think a lot of us have very charged energy, so it's really time to look at that and start readjusting our perspectives on abundance. What's going to hinder us, or the shadow aspect of that, is awakening, renewal, and enlightenment. So I feel like this, because it is the hindering kind of read it in reverse. This is really about being stagnant, being too attached to the old ways of seeing abundance and security and feeling good. There's really an aspect of, yeah, stagnant. It's like we still look at abundance and money like we did several hundred years ago. We really need to be working on reevaluating and coming into a new awakening about what money means and where our abundance flow is, and how abundance doesn't necessarily need to mean money. It just means the universe is taking care of us, that we are full, that there's nothing we are lacking. What's going to go along with that is Ace of Wands, or Ace of Feathers. Ace of Feathers? No, sorry. Ace of Feathers is Ace of Swords. All right. Mental clarity and foundation. So again, this is going along with the shadow. I feel like the Ace of Swords is really about like kind of cutting the bullshit card. So again, we're reevaluating. There's so much sun. Is it over here? Is it over here? You're just gonna have to trust me. Let's see. Me. Kinda. Okay. So it is really about reevaluating, getting clarity. The word here is specifically mental clarity and foundation. So getting more clear on our focus on our because feathers is about the mind, it's about the mental. So really seeing where our mind is about this. And I feel like because this is a hindering aspect, we haven't really been doing that. We've been kind of just falling into the old patterns. So this week we're going to be reevaluating and adjusting these beliefs. All right, so we're getting into the Mariel Tarot. I will say there is some nudity in this deck. I don't know if they're going to be in the cards I pulled specifically. So be aware if you're not into that. Leave now. Or maybe this is a good growing opportunity. All right, so our main energy around this for the tarot for abundance is Three of Swords. All right, guys, so we've got Three of Swords. So I feel like there's a lot of wounding around this. I feel like there is, which feels like we're dodging things. It feels like it's not a safe space. I feel like a lot of us have a lot of trauma around money. We feel like, there's always this aspect of feeling like lack. There's always this feeling that there's someone out to get us when it comes to money. There's this aspect of feeling unsafe. So again, coming into these like belief systems and being aware and renewing our relationship to abundance and money is going to be big this week. What's going to assist us with that is Nine of Discs, which is interesting because this is also Nine of Discs. Our main card for the first tarot is our light aspect for our second tarot. So this is really powerful. This is about really getting clear when it comes to our physical actions around money. So discs is very about the physical, it's the pentacles, it's about how things are manifested into the world. So I feel like when it comes to what's assisting us in this Three of Swords energy is getting clear about if our actions are in line with our emotions around money, if our stories around money are lining up. So maybe this has to do with overspending. Maybe this has to do with always feeling guilty about when we spend money or like how we're going about money. So be very aware of how your relationship with money is manifesting into the real world, the physical world rather. What's going along with that is temperance. Okay, here we go. Oh, there we go. So temperance. So I'm really feeling like what's going to go along with that is creating some balance for yourself. So if you feel like you're an overspender, maybe pull back a little bit. If you feel like you are always holding on to things, maybe release a little bit. Maybe it's about being more centered and focused and more even when it comes to your financial endeavors. Maybe it's about balancing out this feeling of guilt or lack with a feeling of abundance. So it's really about getting some balance. Also, temperance is about transmuting energy. So it's really important to, let's see if I can, there's so much sun in here. Oh, that did nothing. Okay. So temperance is also about transmuting energy. So again, kind of this bullshit card, this like getting clear. There's so much light happening. I will not be sitting here during this time of day next time. Okay, you know what? It is what it is. I'm gonna just sit over here. Transmuting energy. So this is really about getting clear on our thoughts and consciously choosing to have different thoughts around abundance and money. So we need to be aware of how our physical, like how our mental is bringing into the physical, and then if it's not manifesting the way we want, really getting clear and transmuting that energy. So it's important that we don't keep running away with our old beliefs around abundance and money. Okay. What's hindering us is King of Wands. So I feel like this has to do with feeling like there's a lack of flow, a lack of creative energy. It feels like, you know, if we're working on something that's kind of our own business, we feel like there's not enough like energy and like starter energy, like fire behind our projects. We're feeling like we don't have the focus and the energy to maybe put into what we want to be doing, or it feels like if we're putting our all in, it's like we still aren't enough. So that's what's going to be hindering us. So we're feeling like there's a lack of energy behind our ability to create what we want. And to go along with that, we have Knight of Swords. So Knight of Swords is about focus, it's about the mental clarity, and it's about moving forward quickly. So it is kind of a similar energy. It's about focused energy. It's about things moving quickly. So there's a feeling of a bit of stagnance. And I think this is why a lot of people feel kind of like let down when it comes to this topic, is because it never really feels like there's enough. But be aware of the fact that this comes from your belief systems around these topics. So be aware of that, because what's coming into the physical is more a reflection of what's going on in your mental versus it being like nothing's happening, so I'm feeling sad. So be aware of that. All right, and the main energy for these cards is the moon. Okay, so that's really powerful. So I feel like the moon is about things being in shadow. It's about things being kind of being unknown, feeling like there's an aspect of scariness. It's like if you want to step out into this idea of creating your own abundance, it's kind of in shadow. There's not a lot of certainty around these things. And so there's an aspect of feeling like there's a little mystery to this. Maybe you're starting a new endeavor. Maybe you want to, you know, start a new job. Maybe it's about leveling up in the business you're already in. There is feeling like there's a little bit of shadow. There's feeling like there's like all the cards haven't been flipped over on the table yet. You know, it's like you feel like you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. And so there's this level of uncertainty, which may be why, because you're kind of feeling restricted in this area, why it's manifesting as restricted, because you're not, instead of trusting and just letting it flow, look, there's this feeling of restriction because there's a nervousness around the unknown. All right, so from Spirit, our Spirit cards, which are basically the cards where Spirit is trying to like focus certain aspects, or kind of being like, this is what you really need to focus on in this reading. 3 of Discs. Okay, so that's really cool. 3 of Discs also came up for our full moon mid reading on my Instagram. So this is, the way I like to see it is kind of like the hobby card. It's creative. It could be even with a group, like group creation. There's an aspect of feeling, yeah, it's very creative. It's like a hobby card. So there's this aspect of feeling like, you know, our hobbies can't bring us what we actually want. It's like, well, I do this on the side, but like I don't prioritize it. And so Spirit's telling us that when it comes to this abundance piece, this is actually where your abundance is going to come from once you shift your perspective on it being able to come through this. So again, mental clarity, readjustment, being aware of the fact that this is actually where your passion and your energy is like naturally going to flow. So once you release the idea that this is just like a hobby, but rather something that you're here to do, it's going to change up the game. What's going along with that is the Chariot. So the Chariot is about bringing a lot of energy that's kind of hectic into a more stable focus. So I feel like a lot of the message today is about getting focused, getting clear on where your story is coming from, where what you're telling yourself about this topic. And you can be like, oh, I want to make my own money, but if underneath you're like, oh, but I'm not good enough, like be aware of those belief systems. So the Chariot is about bringing these hectic energies into a more focused, stable energy. So be aware of that. So it's getting into that creative space and being focused on it and not seeing it as just like a side thing. All right, so our last cards are from Soul Cards 2, and these are very, very intuitive. So, oh, that's interesting. Oh, and they're all in reverse. So, heads up. So, we have this card here. There's some nudity in these as well. So, I feel like there's this aspect of this like fire in the belly, as you can see here. So, what Spirit is telling us right now is this fire in your belly isn't being utilized to like move forward, or this may even feel like there's a lack of this fire for you. I do see that there's this fire and it's connected to the third eye. So there's this aspect of intuition and creative energy. So it's important that you start becoming really in tuned intuitively with your creative process. If you're not feeling like excited, if you're not feeling like there's a purpose here, it's probably not what you're here to do. So Spirit is saying like there is some like resistance to this concept. So be aware of how that's coming through you and really start bringing that fire into your creative center, whatever that could be. And it could surprise you too. All right, the next card here, again, there is fire in this card. So that's really interesting. And it's got these wings and it's kind of lighting the way. So I'm really feeling like for this card, your creative energy should be what's guiding you. So many of us, because of our old belief systems and patterns, believe that what brings in abundance is going to be uncomfortable, is kind of like the time that's allotted to someone else. And then we kind of like give ourselves this very short amount of time to do what really feels good to us. But really, in this new paradigm, to bring in money, what's going to shift this abundance stream is realizing that your creative energy should be what's guiding you instead of being this like side thing. So it's really going to be important to, and coming back to the hobby card too, this is very like thematic, is like what brings fire in your belly should be guiding you. This is very, very simple. Not necessarily in practice, but it's a very simple concept that we really need to grasp, because a lot of us like kind of know it, but we're not really like, you know, letting it burn within us. You know, we're not being proactive about it. And our last card here, it's beautiful. A lot of like explosion energy, right? But this is plants. But what's interesting is this is coming out of the creative center too. And there's also an aspect of connected to the third eye. Can you see that? So a lot of this, I'm really feeling this is about let yourself grow from your creative space. This is about really getting in tune with your creative center, but then having it connect up to your third eye, your intuition, your awareness, your new ways of thinking. This is not old patterns. This is not 3 and below. This is like heart and up. Connecting your creative center with your upper awareness and knowledge. So be aware of that relationship and that dance. And this is going to be something that needs to be honed, and it's going to be something that is going to be a learning process, because so often so many of our different aspects are very disconnected. So Spirit is really telling us this is about connecting in and being focused and birthing through our intuition and birthing through our gut feeling and our inner knowing. So that is this week's reading. Please comment down below if it resonated. If it didn't, that's okay too. With love, definitely share your comments and give this a like if you liked it, and hit subscribe if you want to see more videos like this in the future. I do try to post readings every Friday along with a couple other videos during the week. So definitely stay tuned for that. I didn't do one last week, but that is kind of like the exception, not the rule. And my other videos are on spirituality, working with spirit specifically, channeling, shadow work, self-love, sustainability, veganism, menstrual cycle, feminine stuff, divine embodiment, all the goodness. So if any of those topics interest you, definitely hit the subscribe button and share this video if you feel like it might help someone. Again, if you would like a personal reading, you can head down to my description description down below, where I have my Etsy shop where you can check out my other reading options along with some other stuff in my shop. And you can check out my other social media platforms down there as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. It's great to be back. I've only been gone like a week, but it just seems like it's so long. Thank you so much for watching. You are beautiful. You are divine. You are a creative being here to explore the human experience. So thank you so much. Many blessings. Namaste. And don't forget, it is all about the soul journey.